Alright, welcome again in another tutorial of the topic differentiation. In this tutorial we're going to see the derivatives of quotients of polynomials. Say you have a function y is equal to u over v. Now u is a polynomial function of x and v is a polynomial function of x. So y is a quotient because it's obtained by dividing u and v. So we want to know if y is a quotient of two polynomial functions, what is the derivative of y with respect to the independent variable x? This one to see. Now look, hapa kwenye y equals to uv, if I just cross multiply, I get u equals to y times v. Now this is like product. U now is a product of y and v. So remember the product rule. Du dx is just equal to y dv dx plus v dy dx. This is from the product rule that we studied in the previous tutorials. But we are looking for dy dx. We are not looking for du dx. So let's make this part here v dy dx the subject. So this is just going to be v dy dx is equal to this du dx. It means when this goes this way, it's just minus y dv dx. We still have a v though, so let's divide by v everywhere. So dy dx is just going to be equal to 1 over v du dx minus y. Y, remember, is u over v, so just put u over v. We have also divided with this v here, so it's divide v times dv dx. So I mean dy dx is just going to be equal to 1 over v du dx minus u over v squared dv dx. So if I factor out now 1 over v squared here, I mean dy dx is just going to be equal to 1 over v squared. So here nitabaki na v, okay? Unaweza kuona nikichukua v times 1 over v squared inakuwa 1 over v. So kuna hiyo du dx minus hii v squared inakuja nje. So hapa nimebaki na u dv dx. So if I have a quotient of polynomial y u is equal to u over v, the derivative of y with respect to the independent variable x is 1 over v squared. This is v du dx minus u dv dx. Now this can also be written like this. Dy dx is just equal to v du dx minus u dv dx over v squared. Now this is the formula for finding the differential coefficient of y with respect to x when y is a quotient of polynomial function. And this formula is what we call the quotient rule. So we have studied the chain rule, the product rule kwenye zile previous tutorial ambazo nimezi upload. Na hii sasa tunasoma kwenye tutorial hii sasa ni quotient rule. So hizo ni rule ambazo inabidi uzikariri, okay? Kwa hiyo kama hiyo formula hapo inabidi uikariri. Sasa let us use the quotient rule kufanya mifano miwili tu haraka haraka. So call this example 1. It says find dy dx if y is just equal to 1 minus x over 1 plus x. So I can just let here that u is equal to 1 minus x, and then I will also let that v is equal to 1 plus x. This means that y now is u over v. Y is a quotient of a polynomial function. So dy dx can be obtained easily from quotient rule. So this is just v du dx minus u dv dx over v squared. So from this u is equal to 1 minus x, I can get du dx. So du dx, if I differentiate 1, I get 0. If I differentiate x, I get 1. Is just equal to 0 minus 1, which is negative 1. And from this v is equal to 1 plus x, I can get dv dx. So if I differentiate 1 is equal to 0, if I differentiate x is equal to 1. 0 plus 1 is just 1. Now I can use this formula. So my dy now, dx is going to be equal to v. Where's my v? My v is 1 plus x times du dx, which is negative 1, minus u. What's my u? My u is 1 minus x times dv dx is what? Is positive 1. So this one over 1 plus x, which is my v, squared. So my dy dx is just negative 1 minus x minus 1 plus x. So I mean my dy now dx is going to be equal to minus 1 minus x minus 1 plus x over 1 plus x squared. So this x goes, so dy dx is just going to be equal to negative 2 over 1 plus x squared. So I cannot simplify this further, so this is my dy dx when y was equal to 1 minus x over 1 plus x. So when you differentiate, we have used the quotient rule. See this other example, just to kukoleza mambo yani. Mfano moja utoshaki. Tunataka tukoleze mambo. So hii inasema find dy dx if y is equal to sin x over x. So I mean, let u now equals to sin x and v equals to x. So this is just y equals to u over v. It's just a quotient of polynomial functions. Sin x and x, these are the two polynomial functions that have been divided to obtain the quotient y. So dy dx can be obtained by quotient rule, which was v du dx minus u dv dx over v squared. So my dy now dx is just equal to, okay, before I solve this, I have to find du dx and dv dx. So from u, I mean from u equals to sine of x, my du dx. Okay, tuisha differentiate sin x. Unaweza kuangalia ile tutorial ya differential coefficients of sin x and cos x. Ni cos x. Ukidifferentiate sin x unapata cos x. Na v ni x, ukidifferentiate x unapata 1. So my dy now, dx is just going to be equal to v. V is x. Du dx is cos x. Minus u. U is sin x. dv dx is 1 times 1 over x, which is v squared. So what's there? I can get the answer there. My dy dx now is just going to be equal to x cos x minus sin x over x squared. Well, I cannot simplify more than this. So this is a differential coefficient of y with respect to x when y equals to sin x over x. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial to the end. See you in the next tutorial.